I'm Caroline Iles, Gallery Manager at the Ann Korologos Gallery, where we're moments away from opening our For Photographers exhibition. So I'd like to start by introducing, or having you introduce yourselves. We'll start with you, Gail.
Okay. Gail Waterman. I moved from Houston after a career in business operations, primarily in healthcare. And I came to the Valley and married my husband, who was from the Valley, and we had an interesting life together. We restored a barn that was built in 1800 from Vermont and did a number of things together. He had been a photographer prior to that and exposed me to photography. When he passed away in 2008, I wanted to do something that honored part of what we had done together, which is appreciate things that are old and worn and of value in life in this country. And so I took his digital camera and thought perhaps if I used a macro lens and got really close to these old worn images, that we could bring out some of the history and yet represent it in a new way that would work in a contemporary setting, in a contemporary home today, that might look like abstract art. I didn't know if I could do it, didn't know how to do it, found my way with the help of friends who were other photographers, and have started doing the art that we are going to see this evening.
That's fantastic. Michael?
Well, I started in photography about 60 years ago as a student at college, running a photo lab, and it was doing scientific work. So I learned a lot about photography, the techniques and the processes and so on. But the only pictures that I took were really travelogue pictures. When I would travel to places, I would take pictures to record what I was doing and seeing, mainly in color and so on. But it wasn't until the beginning of the digital revolution, which was about 2000, that I got really interested in the possibilities of photography, because it occurred to me all of a sudden that I was only limited by my imagination, because technically I could achieve anything. And so that has led to the kind of work that I do now, which I describe as sort of semi-abstract, and that's letting my imagination run a little wild sometimes, and we can see some of the things in the show here.
Speaking of a wild imagination.
Wild and crazy imagination. I'm Katherine Rabinow, and I had no idea you were originally from Houston. I'm from Houston and the Valley. I am a fair weather friend for the Valley. I like it warm and sunny. I was a faculty member. I was a psychologist, and social change is my field, and was one of the founders of the Children's Museum of Houston and the Houston Center for Contemporary Craft. And when that was happening, that was the beginning of the digital, and I had a little camera, and we were snapping things for the Center for Contemporary Craft, and an extraordinary woman said to me, "Is this a hobby?" And I said, "I'm a serious person, I don't do hobbies." And she said, "Well then, get real." And that's all it took, because what I do is, with my camera, try to see not just what there is, but what there could be, which is what I used to do when I was counseling people. What do you really want to be? What can you become? And then I try to make it. And since there happens to be one here, this is based on a real wooden sculpture by Sol LeWitt, which Sol LeWitt is a major figure. But I thought, oh, it didn't want to be plain blonde plywood. It wanted to be something so much different.
Hi, I'm Tom Korologos. My wife and I, Ann is the name owner of the gallery. We pulled up out here in 17, 18 years ago and got into the gallery business, but I've been poking around photography since my father's Kodak 116 12 pictures per roll camera. He had a bar in Salt Lake City, which is not a good place to have a bar. But I took a lot of photographs there, and from that my interest grew and grew and grew, and finally I got myself a fancy camera when I went in the Air Force in the 50s, and been taking photographs ever since. My current my background was in the journalism and the newspaper business. So my photography has been in the feature newspaper news category. And one final thought, photography, you steal from it, always in life stay focused.
Absolutely. No matter what it takes.